Wake earlier, work harder, finding peace beyond productivity. Some mornings, I used to wake up already feeling late to my own life. Before sunlight touched the room, my mind was already running. Work, messages, pressure. The endless feeling that I needed to do more, wake earlier, move faster. But over time, I began noticing something strange. The harder modern life pushed me, the more disconnected I felt from myself. And maybe many of us are living that way now. Tired, overstimulated, rushing through artificial routines while quietly wondering why peace feels so far away. In this journey, we explore a gentler possibility. What if a better life is not built through constant pressure, but through better mornings, calmer spaces, deeper rest? And a way of living that works with our human nature instead of against it. Because sometimes the first real step toward peace is simply learning how to wake up differently. The heavy sound of morning. Every morning, millions of us wake before sunrise with the same promise hanging over our heads. Wake up at 5 a.m. Work harder than yesterday. Push further than before. Become who you said you'd become. And somewhere deep inside, many of us feel strangely broken when that life does not bring peace. We sit in dim kitchens with glowing screens. We gulp coffee before sunlight touches our skin. We force our minds awake while our bodies still feel heavy with night. Then we quietly wonder why exhaustion follows us through the day like a shadow. But maybe the real question is not why we struggle. Maybe the question is why modern life asks human beings to live like machines in the first place. There is relief in seeing this clearly. Our bodies were not built for endless acceleration. Our minds did not evolve for permanent urgency. And perhaps making life better begins with something surprisingly gentle. Not with waking earlier, but with waking more naturally. The ancient shape of morning. For most of human history, morning arrived slowly. Light entered the world in soft layers. Birds became audible before the sun itself appeared. The body woke gradually beside trees, rivers, wind, and familiar faces. There were no vibrating phones, no glowing notifications, no digital clocks announcing productivity before consciousness had fully returned. The human nervous system learned peace through rhythm. That ancient rhythm still lives inside us now. This is why harsh alarms feel violent. This is why checking emails within seconds of waking can create instant anxiety. The body thinks danger has arrived before the day has even begun. The modern world often treats mornings like a race. But biologically, mornings were once transitions. The nervous system prefers bridges, not explosions. A small practical change can alter everything here. Before touching your phone tomorrow morning, stand near a window for 60 seconds. Let natural light reach your eyes before information reaches your mind. It sounds simple because it is simple. The body still understands sunlight better than screens. The factory bell still echoes. The idea of waking extremely early did not begin as wisdom. For many people, it began with factories. Industrial life demanded synchronization. Huge systems required workers to arrive at exact hours regardless of sleep, season, mood, or weather. Human beings slowly adapted themselves to machines instead of designing machines around human biology. Even now, much of modern productivity culture still carries that industrial spirit. We celebrate exhaustion as discipline. We admire burnout as ambition. We confuse constant motion with meaningful living. The philosopher Bertrand Russell once wrote that one of the symptoms of an approaching nervous breakdown is believing one's work is terribly important. There is something freeing in that observation. The world tells us that every hour must be optimized. But ancient human life contained wandering, pauses, silence, and recovery. Those moments were not laziness. They were maintenance for the mind. Sometimes making life better means refusing to treat ourselves like factory equipment. The body does not read motivational quotes. The body only reads conditions. A person can repeat powerful affirmations every morning. But if they sleep poorly, sit under artificial light all day, stare at screens for 12 hours, and live in constant stress, the body responds to the environment, not the slogan. This explains why so many hardworking people still feel exhausted. The nervous system is practical. It asks simple questions. Did we truly rest, or only pause long enough to continue running? Did we move like living beings, or sit frozen beneath glowing screens? Did we feel safe inside our own lives, or trapped inside constant pressure? Did we stand beneath real morning light, or wake inside artificial brightness? Did we hear silence, or forget what quiet even sounds like anymore? Did we have enough stillness to recover? Modern life often answers no to all of them. This is not personal weakness, it is environmental overload. Carl Jung once said, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." That sentence feels almost rebellious today. Perhaps peace returns not when we force ourselves harder, but when we stop fighting our biological design. The myth of the sacred hour. The internet loves sacred hours. 5 in the morning becomes magical online. Videos show perfect routines, cold showers, glowing apartments, endless discipline. It creates the feeling that success belongs only to people who suffer before sunrise. But real human life is far more varied. Some people naturally wake early. Others think more clearly at night. Human beings have always carried different internal rhythms. Villages once survived because different people stayed alert at different times. Not every person is designed for the same clock. The problem begins when guilt enters the picture. When waking at 7 a.m. feels morally inferior to waking at 5 a.m., when rest becomes shameful. A better question is not, how early should I wake? A better question is, what kind of morning allows my mind to feel calm, focused, and alive? That answer is deeply personal. And that honesty can be more healing than discipline alone. A bench in Kyoto. The psychologist Carl Rogers once described how healing often begins when people stop pretending. There is a beautiful story from Kyoto about an elderly gardener who arrived at the same temple every dawn. He did not rush. He did not optimize. He simply swept leaves slowly before the visitors arrived. Someone once asked him why he came so early. He smiled and said, "So the day does not arrive faster than my spirit." That sentence contains a forgotten wisdom. Many modern mornings feel emotionally late before they even begin. Notifications, schedules, traffic, noise, pressure. The mind starts running before the soul has stood up. One practical fix is surprisingly powerful. Create 10 minutes of transition before consuming information. No endless scrolling. No breaking headlines. No pressure waiting behind glowing screens. Just warm tea, cool water, slow breathing. A long stretch beneath the morning light. Silence returning to the room. A quiet balcony. A tree moving gently outside the window. and for a few precious moments, life asking nothing from us at all. Small rituals teach the nervous system that life is not an emergency. The desk as a threat posture. Look closely at the modern work posture. Bent necks beneath artificial light. Shoulders carrying invisible pressure. Eyes locked onto glowing rectangles for hours at a time. Body sitting still while the mind remains alert for the next notification, the next task, the next demand. A modern posture shaped less by peace and more by constant readiness. To the ancient body, this resembles danger. Human beings evolved while walking through landscapes, scanning horizons, shifting attention naturally between near and distant objects. But today, many people stare at rectangles for 10 hours while barely moving at all. The body interprets this as stress because stillness without safety once meant threat. This is why mental exhaustion often becomes physical exhaustion. A practical change here costs nothing. Every hour, pause for a moment and let your eyes travel beyond the screen. Out a quiet window, down an open street, up toward the endless sky. The human mind was shaped by horizons, distance, and movement. Sometimes even a single minute of looking outward can remind the body that it is safe to breathe again. Distance relaxes the nervous system. The eyes themselves need horizons. The hunger that is not about food. Many people wake at 5 a.m. searching for control. Not because they love mornings, but because modern life feels unstable. Expensive cities, endless competition, digital overload, the fear of falling behind. Early rising becomes emotional armor. If we suffer enough, maybe life will finally feel secure. But the deeper hunger underneath is rarely about achievement alone. It is usually about peace. The philosopher Epicurus believed the good life was surprisingly simple. Friendship, a quiet moment to reflect, a safe place to return to at night, simple food shared without hurry, and a mind calm enough to enjoy being alive. Not a life of endless chasing, not permanent exhaustion disguised as ambition. Just enough peace for the human spirit to finally unclench. Not endless striving. Modern culture often treats peace as a reward for productivity. Ancient wisdom treated peace as the foundation of meaningful work. That difference changes everything. The sound of artificial daylight. Human beings once experienced darkness every evening. Now many homes glow like permanent noon. Bright screens at midnight confuse the brain. Endless stimulation keeps attention alert long after the body wants rest. Then morning arrives, and people blame themselves for feeling tired. But the problem often began the night before. The body prepares for tomorrow during darkness. One gentle fix is to dim lights 1 hour before sleep. Even small lamps feel softer to the nervous system than harsh overhead brightness. Another is deeply underrated. Let the final thing your mind experiences at night be human, not digital. Soft music drifting through the room. The slow turning of paper pages. A quiet conversation that asks nothing from us. And moments of silence long enough for the mind to finally settle. Ancient brains settle more easily when the world becomes quieter gradually. Thoreau and the Cost of Busyness. Henry David Thoreau once wrote, "The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it." Modern people exchange enormous amounts of life for busyness. long commutes, endless notifications, permanent availability, artificial urgency. Then we attempt to reclaim ourselves through extreme morning routines. But perhaps the deeper solution is reducing unnecessary friction altogether. Sometimes improving life has nothing to do with becoming stronger. Sometimes it means making daily existence less hostile to the human nervous system. A slower morning may heal more than another productivity hack ever could. The body often needs softness more than optimization. The nervous system loves predictability. Children sleep better with bedtime rituals. Adults are no different. The nervous system relaxes when patterns feel familiar and safe. Small repeated actions reduce internal chaos. This is why peaceful people often have simple routines rather than complicated systems. A certain cup of tea, morning sunlight, walking after dinner, quiet music while cooking. Tiny rituals become emotional architecture. Modern life constantly destroys continuity. Every app interrupts, every screen divides attention. Every notification fragments thought. So recovery often begins with rebuilding predictable moments. Not perfect routines, just stable islands inside noisy days. The forgotten medicine of walking. Walking may be one of the oldest forms of emotional repair humans possess. For ancient people, movement and thinking were connected. Problems were processed during long walks across landscapes. The body moved while the mind untangled itself naturally. Today, many people wake at 5 a.m. only to sit immediately. But the mind clears differently when the body moves first. Even 10 minutes outside can shift the chemistry of a morning. Especially near trees. Especially near open sky. Especially without headphones. Silence allows the nervous system to finish thoughts that constant stimulation interrupts. The modern mind is often not overloaded with problems. It is overloaded with unfinished processing. Success without arrival. There is a strange sadness hidden inside modern ambition. Many people achieve the life they worked for and still feel restless afterward. The bigger apartment arrives. The promotion arrives. The expensive desk setup arrives. But peace does not automatically follow. Because human beings are not only achievement creatures, we are environmental creatures. A calm room affects thought. Natural light affects mood. Noise affects stress. Sleep affects identity itself. The quality of our surroundings quietly shapes the quality of our inner world. This realization is deeply hopeful because environments can be changed. Not all at once, but gently, little by little, through the small ways we choose to care for our daily lives. And small changes compound quietly over time. A softer definition of discipline. True discipline may not be forcing ourselves awake in darkness every day. True discipline may be listening carefully enough to notice what actually restores us. For some people, that includes waking early. For others, it means sleeping longer. For many, it means protecting mornings from digital chaos. The goal is not to imitate internet routines. The goal is to build a life where the nervous system no longer feels trapped inside permanent emergency. A peaceful human being is not lazy. A regulated human being thinks more clearly, loves more deeply, and works more sustainably. The ancient body is not our enemy. It is the oldest home we have. Morning light on the floor. Tomorrow morning, sunlight will quietly touch walls, trees, sidewalks, rooftops, kitchen tables, and sleeping faces across the world. The day itself is not asking us to suffer. Most of the pressure comes from systems humans created together. And systems can be redesigned. Life becomes better slowly. Through softer rooms, deeper sleep, and mornings filled with natural light instead of sudden alarms. Through quieter days, less divided attention, and small moments where the mind no longer feels pulled in every direction at once. More moments where the body feels safe enough to unclench. Maybe waking at 5 a.m. is not the secret after all. Maybe the deeper wisdom is learning how to wake up without fear. To begin the day like a human being instead of a machine. To build environments that support life instead of draining it. And to remember that peace was never laziness. It was always part of health. This is the Sapiens Way, where humanity reflects on the worlds it creates and the beings it is becoming. The conversation doesn't end here. Visit the quiz tab and share your score in the comments. Thanks for your time, it's been a delight. What should we explore next? Comment, share, and save your insight. Subscribe to Orbital Sapiens and keep your thoughts bright.